Hi everyone, I'm Kamakshi and this is a demo for an application that I built. So I've been working quite a lot with LangGraph workflows and I recently came across this application called LangGraph Builder, which has been archived now, but it is a really cool visual canvas for sketching LangGraph workflows. I love the idea, but I did notice a gap, which is once you download the boilerplate code, the graph and the code become two separate things. So if you later want to rename a node or add a validation step or change just restructure the entire graph, you'd either have to manually edit the Python code yourself or you'd have to do this process all over again. And so I built LangGraph Sync. LangGraph Sync is a bidirectional visual editor that keeps your graph and your code synchronized in real time. So this is the application, and this is a really simple graph that you'll be able to find here in the agents directory. So now let's actually go ahead and make changes. Firstly, if I were to click on this node, it highlights the relevant implementation, shows me the inputs, outputs, incoming edges, and outgoing edges. Now, for example, if I were to rename this to router, it correctly updates all of the references, graph references related to router. If I were to delete start, it not only gives me a validation error, it also it also deletes the set entry point here. And let's just go ahead and put it back here. I can rename edges, delete nodes, add more nodes if I want. For example, I want another my agent. There we go. For example, if I wanted another conditional route from router to my agent and analysis, I'll just go here, router, write your routing function. Just gonna give it an arbitrary key and just goes to my agent. It has correctly added these new routes that we made and made this new node as well. Also, one thing to note here, it does not make any changes to the business logic because that's up to the developer to write. It is only meant for graph mutations. And I can keep working in VS Code and the graph will automatically reflect all of the changes. For example, if here I was to change it back to something like this, replace everything, let's save it and change in the graph and the graph updates. See here, all of the agent states have been defined here. The most impressive features is that if your graph has any errors, it tries to recover as much structure as possible and surfaces all of the validation errors here in the panels. For example, here, node my agent has no outgoing edges. So if, for example, if I were to put it into analysis, this error would go. If I were to go here and change the return statement to something like this, which is not there in the agent state, I have to reload this. Yeah, so it shows node report returns key, which is not defined in state schema. So yeah, it helps you validate your graph as well. And one thing I wanted was for this graph to not just work on toy examples, but actual LangGraph workflows in production. So I've in the agents folder, you'll find most of the use cases that I built for. And so it also works with subgraphs and parallel edges. For example, here, this is an example of a subgraph, and it has different agent states. So you can see all of those individually here. And you can also expand on these and rename any of the nodes that you want. For example, why does this have so many S's? Go here. Okay, it messes it up a little bit, but and if I were to go back here, it has correctly updated all of these states. It also works with multiple node edges where the edges are defined with multiple source nodes. And there's also this AI Copilot feature, which is not the main feature, but you can use it to make any graph mutations automatically. So if I'd say connect the start node to router underscore v2, and it should be able to do that. And the Copilot only works for graph mutations. It will reject any query that requires you to change business logic. For example, change the implementation of. There are still several things that I'd like to improve in this, and there could be some cases where graph visualization may not be correct. So I'd love feedback from people building production LangGraph applications. And if there are any patterns that your repositories use that aren't currently supported, I would love to add them. But yeah, you can either clone the repo or you can just install the extension file and just directly use it. The link will be in the description. Feel free to ask me any questions and yeah, have a good day. Keep hitting those keyboard keys until something cool happens.